Selecting a martial arts program for your child is entirely different than choosing one for an adult. For children, the style of martial art does not make a difference. To them, it's all punching, kicking, rolling around on the ground, and having fun. They aren't going to grasp any of the philosophies in any meaningful way. They may be able to regurgitate it during bell tests, but they won't be able to internalize it and understand the true meaning behind everything. And that's fine. They're just kids. Most adults I train with don't fully grasp the material either. For children, the most important element is the instructor. If your child is not comfortable with the instructor, or the instructor can't communicate with the child, it's not going to work. Plain and simple. This is where the free trial lessons come in. Pay close attention to their interaction and talk to your child afterwards. Go in for at least 2 free lessons. Your child's mood on any particular day can have an effect on the interaction as much as anything else, and you need to see as many examples as possible. How does the trainer act when your child is not understanding the instructions or just not being cooperative? Martial arts is probably one of the best activities your child can participate in. Above all else, it builds self-confidence. I've seen it turn bullies into model students, save kids from a path of destruction of drugs and alcohol to graduating to college, and turn sheep into assertive class leaders. This is achieved through self-confidence as directed by a good role model. That role model is the martial arts instructor. I've had some amazing instructors in my decades of martial arts training. I still call some mentor and friend after 30 years. Others, some of whom thought they were quite profound, I wouldn't follow across the street. I can't stress enough the importance of the role of the instructor in martial arts for children. The next point is, do not let your child quit after the first 2 belt ranks. This is one of the most common times to quit, but also probably the worst time. The reason is that the child now has some basic skill in punching, kicking, and blocking, probably more than the average kid on the playground. However, the child has not developed the control and understanding of when to punch and when to kick. He or she has a confidence boost, but can't back it up yet. So if things aren't working out with the studio and the child is adamant about quitting, change instructors, change schools, or even change styles. But don't walk away entirely. A consideration for young girls is for parents to seek out a female instructor. Many mothers have told me that they would prefer to have their young daughter instructed by a woman rather than a man. And this is because they want the role model of strength and confidence to be a woman rather than the stereotypical man. Now, a common question I receive about children in the martial arts is, when do I start my child in martial arts? I don't think you can start too early, but it really depends upon your child. Most schools won't accept kids under 4, but I have seen some take them as young as 3. Before then, your child just doesn't have the physical coordination or ability to concentrate long enough to make it through a class. You are the best judge of your child's abilities and concentration. You also want to look at the children's curriculum. Do they even have a printed curriculum? Is it just martial arts punching and kicking, or do they go over real-world scenarios like crossing the street, not chasing balls into the street, not getting into a car with anyone, dealing with bullies, beyond popping them in the nose, and for that matter, when is it okay to hit someone and when is it not? These types of questions will uncover if the program is just a stripped-down version of the adult classes or if it's something designed specifically for children. Martial arts schools go by any number of names depending upon the style or heritage. They can go by school, studio, dojo, dojang, academy, gym, and so on and so forth. They all mean the same thing. A place to train and learn. A facility. The building, or lack thereof, can tell you a lot about the teaching you'll receive, but not everything. There are too many types of schools to mention them all, but here are a few broad categories that capture most of them. You have the big business school that's part of a national chain. You have a small business which can have several schools around the city. You have single location schools, which are the vast majority. You have a part-time instructor who works a day job and teaches at night. This person can rent space at a gym, a YMCA, a rec center, a church, a dance studio, or any number of locations. Sometimes the location can change depending upon the day of the week. For example, Monday night is at the YMCA and Wednesday can be in a church basement. Or it can even be in a neighborhood park. A big fancy school does not mean the instruction is better than what is offered by a part-time instructor. Big schools can offer more in terms of facilities and hours of operation and class schedule, but the monthly dues are usually higher to cover these extras. Small schools or part-time instructors often teach because they love it and not for the financial gain, but you have to work to their availability. When you look for a school, there are a few things you should do. First, always take the free introductory lesson. Whether or not it's advertised, every school worth your time will give you a free introductory lesson. Ask for it. This will introduce you to the school, the instructor, the basics of the style, and other students. Often, the first lesson will be a private lesson with a head instructor. Ask instead for it to be a group class. Attending a group class is the best way to get a feel for the school. If they balk at the group class because you've never had any training at all, then ask to watch a group class in addition to the private lesson. If they do not offer free introductory classes or will not let you watch a class, then walk out immediately. That is no place you want to train. No school worth its salt will not let you watch classes. If they make some asinine claim that they can't let outsiders see their secrets, you know they are so full of crap you should have smelled it at the door. After the free lesson, the head instructor will usually walk you into the office and try to get you to sign a membership. This is standard business practice. If this is the first studio you've checked out, don't sign. If you have any hesitation about what you experienced, don't sign. If you love the place, don't sign. Go home, think about it, and come back later to sign. Classes aren't going to fill up, the school won't close down, and it will still be there next week. If you really like the place, you'll be back. Now, speaking of signing, joining a martial arts studio is just like joining a gym. There will be a sign-up fee, which includes your uniform, patches, a belt, and then they'll try to get you to sign a 6-month or a year contract. This is how most schools earn their money to keep the doors open. And just like gyms, they know that most people who sign up will only train for a few weeks or a month and then disappear. The biggest influx of new students is in January or February. You know, all those New Year's resolution folks. And most are gone by summer. From those of us who train weekly and year-round, we thank you for helping to keep our membership fees down. If a school had to rely on those who actually showed up to cover all the expenses, the membership fees would be so high that only a few could afford to train in the handful of schools that would remain open.